Hello and welcome back.
Today, we're diving into the heart of paradise, Spain, Marbella.
We have come to love this place, but there are some tips that I wish someone told us before we first visited.
So in this video, we're going over game-changing tips for your next Marbella getaway. Don't forget to check out our detailed guide on ThePlanetD.com for more on Marbella and beyond. Links are in the description.
If there's one thing we've learned from our travels, it's that the devil's in the details. Marbella, with its allure and charm, has its secrets, and today we're spilling them all.
We've explored pretty much every corner of this city to bring you tips that will transform your visit to Marbella.
First up, forget Ubers. We found that taxis offer a smoother experience without the hassle of cancellations, and surprisingly, the prices were pretty comparable.
Yeah, we did try both Ubers and taxis when we were there. Found Ubers to be somewhat unreliable, like they wouldn't show up. We had one experience where we're standing on the corner, you're looking at your Uber app, and he's just driving around in circles, and he never, ever came.
He just canceled after we waited for 10 minutes. And then we had another guy who was just stopped, and we were like, are you coming? Are you coming? Finally, he said, I had to fill up my car. And then after 10 more minutes, we're like, are you ever coming? Oh, my car's an electric car. I'm charging it. So we ended up having to walk where we were going. We found taxis, they will just show up. First of all, taxis are metered, so you know exactly what you're paying. And there are taxi stands all over the city, so you can just grab a taxi wherever you go. We saw many people driving by in their taxis comfortable while we were waiting for our Ubers.
So our recommendation is have your hotel just call you a taxi. That way you're guaranteed that they're actually going to show up and you get to where you're going on time.
We had heard that Bolt is better than Uber and far more reliable. I think a lot of the Uber drivers are from out of town nowadays and they don't know where they're going. So it's very frustrating. We were really frustrated with Uber. Even though we love the app, we didn't like it in Marbella.
When booking your flight, aim for an arrival that syncs with more public transport options. Marbella's beauty is easiest to navigate when you've got choices.
Yeah, and what Dave means by that is if you come in at night, buses probably won't be running. The local buses close at around 6:30, 7 o'clock, depending on the time of year and the day. So when you're flying in, you want to make sure that you arrive when the local transport is happening.
We don't take public transport. We tend to book a private transfer or some sort of transfer beforehand through Get Your Guide. That way, there's someone there holding a sign with your name and gets you straight to your destination or to your hotel without having to navigate the public transport system.
Now remember, to fly into Marbella, you're actually flying into Malaga, which is 40 minutes away. So you don't want to be stranded at the airport. You want to make sure that your flight arrives when local transportation is actually open, or you want to pre-arrange your ticket, because I think hailing a taxi might be quite expensive from there. So book your transportation in advance.
And what I found actually is that if you are coming into the Malaga airport and you want to get downtown, booking beforehand is so much more convenient. It takes the stress out of, finding the public transport stand and getting down there. It may cost you a little bit of extra money, but really most of the flights that come in later at night will be cheaper. So the money that you would spend on your transfer to go downtown, you could actually save it on your flight or break even. A word of caution, avoid staying in the old city hotels if you're a light sleeper. The charm comes with a soundtrack of nightlife that can last into the early hours.
You betcha. This is very much a party town, and when the sun goes down, the noise level goes up. We made a mistake of booking a hotel in the old city, which was a great location. We were right between the beach and the old town, but man, it was loud. We just heard cars and partiers and yelling and music all night long. So I recommend going a little bit outside of the downtown area.
Especially if you're not there for the nightlife or you're not partaking in that. Because like we said, they go out to dinner quite late, starting at 9 o'clock. So those parties go till the early morning hours. So if you do choose to stay down there, either participate in the parties, pack some earplugs.
There's a lot of beach resorts that are all along the waterfront. And like we said, it's a 7.5-mile waterfront. So book a beach resort instead. That'll take you outside of the downtown, but you'll be able to walk along the promenade to get to the old town any night. Or you can take that taxi. That's very affordable. I do wish that we booked one of those resorts that were on the beach because you could have your own beach umbrellas and your own beach chair with the resort, so you didn't have to fight for umbrellas with all of the rest of the public.
A trip to Marbella is all about the beaches, and there are a lot of them. But there is some beach etiquette that you should know before visiting.
First of all, if you see those beautiful sun umbrellas lined up on the beach just asking you to come sit under them, you can't just go and plop your beach towel down underneath. You have to pay for them. Usually these start at about €7, but they go up during high season and with demand.
Yeah, and if you want a guaranteed beach umbrella, then there are beach clubs in Marbella that you can visit for a couple of hours or even for a full day. Now, prices do vary a lot, so make sure to do your research. Some beach clubs charge as low as €30 per day, but you can pay up to €180 per day. That's crazy.
They do offer food and drinks and access to the pool, so it can be a really nice way to spend your day.
If you look at it as a whole day out.
Yeah. And as we mentioned earlier, in Marbella, they dress for success. So when you go to the beach, make sure you have your best designer wear with you. Put on, I'm talking like a big wide brim hat, designer sunglasses, and your very stylish beach wear.
Yeah, but remember when you leave the beach, that, you got to put a shirt on to cover up, especially guys. You can't be walking around like you're in Daytona Beach, all buffed out with no shirt on. You have to put a shirt on.
And women should have their sundress or some other kind of cover when they go into town. You don't want to be walking around with a bikini on. Actually, you are supposed to cover up when you go into town.
Yeah, so those are tips for hitting the beach. I wish we had known those before we went. Adjust your schedule to the local rhythm. Most places close from 2 to 5 p.m. for siesta, translated to nap time, and most places are closed on Sundays. So plan your activities and meals accordingly.
Yep, you won't be doing much shopping on a Sunday because shopping malls and most small shops are closed.
But all the restaurants are open. So it's a great time to go and eat 2 to 5. It's not unusual to eat lunch at this time because basically everyone in Spain goes to dinner at like 9 p.m. or later. So take advantage of siesta time and go grab yourself a bite to eat.
And when you do want to eat at 9 p.m., you can eat earlier if you want, but you're really going to be missing out. It's like such an amazing vibe. Families are out at night. It's really hot in Marbella, so you want to eat later at night, avoid the midday heat. And it's just a fun and festive time.
Also, let me tell you, you'll get some strange looks if you're going for dinner and asking for the dinner menu at 5 p.m. I know that happened to us.
I know, we're silly Canadians that went and ate earlier because we were all out of whack with our jet lag. However, just go for some pinchos, get some appetizers and apparel spritz, and then you'll be right in with the local rhythm. Marbella's Promenade is a must. But to escape the heat and crowds, opt for a morning or evening stroll. It's perfect for foodies and photo ops.
Yeah, we actually strolled along this promenade every morning. We'd walk along there. There's hardly any people out there, as you get to enjoy it free of crowds, because we found later on in the afternoon it got really crowded. But you could stop for a coffee, you could have breakfast all along there, and you get to take in all the beautiful beaches.
At this time of the day, you have the beaches all to yourself, because let me tell you, these beaches get packed. And one of the most famous places on the promenade is the Avenida del Mar.
Oh, yeah.
Now, go here early in the morning because it is a busy square in Marbella, but it has Salvador Dali sculptures in it. There's 10 of them that Dali donated. And this is pretty amazing because usually you have to go to a museum to see it, but these are just open air sculptures and works of art by that amazing artist, Salvador Dali.
Yeah, and as you walk down and you check out all these sculptures, like I'm not a huge Dali fan, but I really found them super interesting. And then you can continue on right along the promenade, along the water. It's a great way to kick off your morning.
Did we say that it goes all the way to Puerto Banus too? So you could spend your whole day, you could get up early in the morning, walk along the promenade all day because it's 7.5 miles. And then by the time you get to Puerto Banus, you can party all night long down there. It's perfect. Underestimate the heat and you'll melt. So dress light, stay hydrated, and always have sunscreen at the ready.
Yeah, when we were there, it was insanely hot. I didn't really understand how hot it was going to be. So getting out early in the morning is a great way to beat the heat. Or when it gets really, really hot, find a nice place on the beach to sit with a fan and have a cocktail, or maybe go in for that siesta, a little bit of nap if you're going out later on. It's a good way to beat the heat is to stay inside during those peak hours.
So make sure that you book your tours or your sightseeing in the morning before lunch or in the evening after the siesta time, because that's when you'll be the most comfortable.
And there's also some great places in downtown Marbella that you can get some really super light clothing for quite cheap. So it'll keep you covered from the sun and you can still be out in that hot weather without completely dying.
Yeah. So make sure that you carry around a refillable water bottle. You want to stay very hydrated. That can be very serious, not drinking enough water. And if you're like me, you may want to have a little neck fan. I wore that a lot when I was in Marbella and I felt great. I had an automatic neck fan that just kept my head cool. My little tricks of the trade.
So just be aware of the heat, how sunny it is and how hot it is, because when you're coming from all other places, the sun there is really a lot more intense than you think it is.
Hotels can get pricey last minute. Book early to lock in the best rates and avoid the sting of peak season pricing.
And what I mean by this, or what we mean by this, is like book really far in advance. I know it seems common sense to book ahead of time, which it definitely is. But in Marbella, these places get sold out like a year in advance. There's lots of people that we met there who are like, okay, I came and stayed this particular 2 weeks and I've already booked for next year. So they come back to the same hotel again and again. So in order to get your best choice of accommodation, booking really early is super important.
Dave and I never thought of booking a year in advance before, but I noticed the prices were huge. When we were booking in Marbella, we were looking at things because we booked only a few weeks in advance and it was €200 to €300 for not even a great, amazing place. But when I look a year in advance, I can save hundreds of euros on a great place. I'm not exaggerating. So the price difference is huge. If you know you're going somewhere next year, book it now. We use booking.com, and the one thing I love about that is you can book in advance and then you can cancel free of charge. And we've canceled many times and we get our money back. No problem, no hassles, no fees.
So you're going to find you're going to get much better accommodation the further out that you book. You know, you're going to have the choice of those more luxurious places or even just more conveniently located. I know the place we stayed, yes, it was right downtown, but as we mentioned, you know, it was really loud and all that kind of stuff, but we didn't have a lot of choice for our price range. So by booking in advance, you're going to have a lot more choice and probably get things for a little bit cheaper.
And for that place downtown, we paid way too much money for what it was. And that was because we only booked it about 4 weeks in advance. We really should have been smarter.
Yeah, I think the room was the size of a shoebox too. It wasn't very big. Orange Square is enchanting but expensive. Venture just outside for meals that are kinder to your wallet, but generous in quality and atmosphere.
The one thing we found is Orange Square is beautiful. It has all these orange trees around it. It's a big open square and you want to eat there for sure. You're just like, oh, I want to eat here. And then you look at the prices compared to everywhere else in Marbella. Obviously, it's a tourist destination. Like, this is the main place everyone goes to, so the prices are more expensive.
We walked around and actually looked at the menus because we were thinking of eating there. We're like, oh, wow, this is quite expensive. And then we had been into the few streets, maybe just even a block. Actually, I think it was just a block away. And it was like really, really way cheaper for basically the same meals. So we ended up going and eating there, but my suggestion would be, if you do want to enjoy the atmosphere of Orange Square, just drop in there for a drink or maybe some pinchos or something like that. But have your main meal away from the actual Orange Square.
Yeah, the Marbella Old Town is beautiful everywhere, and there are a lot of other squares around, and there's a lot of really picturesque streets with flowers and beauty and outdoor terraces.
The rooftop bars.
Yeah, there's rooftop bars, so you do not need to eat in Orange Square to have a really, truly exciting and beautiful experience there. You can eat all over at a more affordable price.
Yes, but don't miss it. Definitely go and check out Orange Square because it really is beautiful, and grab a drink or grab some food somewhere else.
If you're splurging, Puerto Banus offers luxe cruises, but make sure to dress to impress. It's that experience where there seems to be a dress code. So really make sure to show up wearing something fancier than a bathing suit or the good old t-shirt and shorts look.
Yeah, that was us. We rolled up to Puerto Banus and roll in and we see people getting out of like their Ferraris and Maseratis dressed to the nines. And I got my flip-flops, my shorts on. I'm like, well, I feel completely out of place.
I felt terrible. I wish that I would have dressed up and, in a cocktail dress. Seriously. I thought, oh, it's a beach town, so we're fine. We were going out on a yacht and I was like, oh, it will be fine. It'll be windy, so I'll just wear some pants and a t-shirt. Nope, I should have really dressed up because everyone looked beautiful there and I felt very inferior.
Yeah, so just be aware when you go there that you should you don't necessarily need to dress to the nines, but definitely dress up a little bit more than if you're going to the beach.
Yeah, because Puerto Banus, that's more of like a place where people go to be seen.
Yes.
People were revving their cars, driving up and down the strip, walking around. So it is a place where people go to be seen. So if you want to feel like you fit in, dress up. Marbella's charm is undeniable, from its sun-kissed beaches to its lively streets. But navigating this paradise is all about knowing the ins and outs.
And now, you're armed with our top tips. We hope that these insights make your visit as magical as ours was.
We're curious about your thoughts. If you've been to Marbella, drop your experiences or questions in the comments below. And if this guide helped, give us a like and hit that subscribe for more travel insider tips.
Woo!